What if Hogwarts had classes in Dreamancy, aka dream magic? Today we're diving into what enchanted tools you might encounter and need to be an effective lucid dreamer. Get ready to embark on Lucid Journeys. Explore the Phillip Aisling multiverse.
All right, so welcome everyone to this deep dive. And today we're going to be talking about something pretty wild.
Yeah.
We're going to be jumping headfirst into Phillip Aisling's multiverse.
Have you ever had that feeling that, maybe what we experience day to day, maybe that isn't the only show in town?
Yeah.
There could be, entire worlds, whole other realities kind of humming just beneath the surface of what we usually perceive. Okay, let's unpack this. What if Hogwarts had classes in Dreamancy, aka dream magic? Today, we're diving into what enchanted tools you might encounter and need to be an effective lucid dreamer.
Exactly. We're taking a deep dive into magical tools, yeah. But specifically looking at how different worlds, imagine the equipment you'd need for their unique forms of magic, comparing artifacts from, the classic Harry Potter universe and the world of Phillip Aisling.
Right. And our mission here is really just to pull out the key ideas by seeing how these tools, these objects, shape their heroes. How do they invite us into these worlds of wonder, mystery, and transformation?
Yeah, think of this as kind of a shortcut to understanding the magical equipment someone might need, whether it's for, traditional wizardry or the more inward-focused practice of lucid dreaming, all based on what these sources tell us.
And the comparison really starts with something incredibly personal for both heroes, doesn't it?
Absolutely. For Harry, it's the wand, right? I mean, every young wizard gets one. It's their personalized magical instrument. You see Harry using it, constantly casting spells, defending himself, even revealing hidden things.
Mm-hmm. It becomes a total extension of his will, his identity, his agency, really.
Yeah, the focus is all about projection, about creating an effect out in the world.
Okay, so then Phillip Aisling has something just as central, you're saying, but maybe different in function.
Completely different function, yeah, but just as central. It's called the Numinous Nagwaagan.
Yeah.
According to the sources, this is a sacred ancestral tool described kind of like a magical dreamcatcher, and it's gifted to him by the Oracle. It's right there with him, just like Harry's wand is always with Harry.
So if the wand is about projecting power outwards, the Nagwaagan is more about protection and maybe amplifying something already inside him.
Exactly that. The material says it shields Phillip's dreams from malevolent forces, and it specifically mentions these entities called Wraiths.
Wraiths, okay. Dark presences in the dream realms.
Seems like it, yeah. And this protection, this shield, it allows him to explore these deep dream realms without being completely overwhelmed by fear or, spiritual attack. There's this really clarifying quote about it in the source material. The Nagwaagan doesn't make you powerful. It makes your choices matter more.
Wow, okay. That quote really highlights the difference, doesn't it?
It really does.
One tool adds power or channels it outward. The other sort of enables your existing capacity by providing safety.
Precisely. Both are intensely personal, essential to their users' survival and growth. And they fundamentally signal their entry into this world where choice and power and danger are totally intertwined.
Okay, so we've got the core personal tools, wand, Nagwaagan. One's outward force, the other inward protection. Where do we go next? How do these worlds equip their heroes to, find their way?
Well, once you have your core tool, you definitely need to navigate the world you're in. In Harry's case, that's the physical space of Hogwarts, and one of the most famous tools for that is the Marauder's map.
Ugh, the map. I mean, who wouldn't want that? It shows the entire layout of the castle and tracks everyone's live location. It's just an incredible tool for strategy, for finding secrets. Gives you this window into all the hidden layers of Hogwarts.
Definitely. But Phillip Aisling's world needs navigation too. His landscape is completely different. He has something described as the Dream Atlas. This thing is a sprawling, metaphysical guide to the dream world landscapes he travels through.
And the source mentioned he uses it with something else too, like a companion piece.
Yes, exactly. Alongside something called the Dreamer's Dictionary. That helps him interpret the symbols and maybe premonitions he encounters in his dreams.
Okay, that feels like a really direct parallel the sources are drawing there. A map of physical space versus an atlas of metaphysical space. Both are tools that reveal invisible structures and let you kind of imagine navigating through hidden worlds.
Absolutely. And building on that idea of navigation and knowing where you are, you also need foresight, right?
Yeah.
Knowing what's coming. That's crucial. Harry has the Invisibility Cloak, legendary Deathly Hallow, lets him move unseen.
Right. Can't get much more direct than invisibility for avoiding trouble, and Phillip doesn't have that. Although you mentioned the Nagwaagan offers protection. That's a form of safety.
True, it offers protection, but his key tool specifically for foresight is different again. It's the prediction charm. It's this small talisman, also given by the Oracle apparently. Its function is really unique. It changes color based on the likelihood of a dream coming true.
Wait, really? So it's literally a premonition meter, like gauging probability.
Pretty much. That's a good way to put it. And when he places it in the center of his Nagwaagan, it becomes this early warning system for real-world danger.
Ah, okay. So it connects the dream warning to potential real-world impact.
Exactly. Super important for those tricky premonitions that seem metaphorical but might actually turn out to be literal threats. The source does note that, divination exists at Hogwarts, but this charm seems much more concrete and tied directly to his specific dream experiences.
So it's not about hiding Phillip like the cloak hides Harry, but about heightening his awareness of possible futures.
Precisely. It's less about cloaking yourself from danger and more about gaining clarity. Clarity to make better choices, potentially avoid disaster.
That shift, from hiding from danger to seeing it clearly, that feels really significant. It speaks volumes about the different kinds of magic or awareness these worlds are exploring.
It does. And it gets even more complex. As Phillip's journey in the sources progresses, a really intriguing and frankly, potentially dangerous tool appears.
Oh, yeah.
It's called the Aether Charm. This shows up in Book 2, apparently, and isn't fully understood by him yet.
Okay, and the material calls it a threshold object. What exactly does that mean in this context? That sounds significant.
That phrase from the source is key, I think. It suggests it doesn't just amplify existing skills like the others seem to. Instead, it challenges his very character, his ethical boundaries. The quote attached to this one is pretty stark, actually. The Aether Charm doesn't give you more dreams. It gives your dreams more weight.
More weight. So like power that comes with heavy consequences, ethical dilemmas baked right in.
Exactly. The source even draws parallels to things like Marvel's Scarlet Witch, or maybe the temptations associated with the Elder Wand in Harry's world. Great power that intrinsically invites ethical consequence.
So it's explicitly not a weapon, but a responsibility.
That's how it's described, yeah. A responsibility. And the big effect that happens when Phillip uses it, according to the source, is that the boundaries between dreaming and reality start to blur. They shift.
Wow. Okay, that's not just a tool then, that's an existential risk he's carrying around.
Right. It's heavy stuff.
Yeah.
And when you step back and look at all these tools together, the wand, the Nagwaagan, the map, the atlas and dictionary, the cloak, the prediction charm, and this mysterious Aether Charm, you really see how they reflect the core nature of their respective worlds. Harry's world, as the sources describe it, is built around spellcasting, bloodlines, a deep magical history, external power, tradition.
Whereas Phillip's world seems centered on dreams, on conscious choices made within altered states, and on, lucid awareness itself, much more internal.
Exactly. And his tools reflect that internal focus. They don't just protect him or guide him through space. They actually ask something of him. They seem designed to push his personal growth.
Yeah, you can see that. They seem to embody different aspects of that growth, like the discernment needed for the Dream Atlas and Dictionary, the foresight from the Prediction Charm, the emotional safety from the Nagwaagan.
Yeah, and the ethical restraint constantly being tested by the Aether Charm.
So while maybe Phillip's gear isn't as, flashy as flying on a broomstick or shouting powerful spells, his lucid tools offer a really potent, maybe more grounded form of magic, especially for anyone drawn to metaphysics, inner journeys, exploring layers of reality.
Yeah, the material describes it as feeling both ancient and modern somehow. And the final quote we have really drives home the stakes of this kind of inner work. The danger isn't dreaming too big, it's dreaming without knowing who you are.
That really lands. So what does all this mean for you listening? How does comparing these very different toolkits, ones for the external world versus ones for inner or subtle realities, help us think about different kinds of magic, or even just different approaches to navigating reality and the self?
And maybe how might thinking about tools that don't just give you power, but actively ask something of you in return? How might that change your perspective on the skills or resources you seek in your own life?
That really does raise an interesting question to ponder, doesn't it? What kind of magical tool would you find most useful for navigating your inner world or understanding the subtle layers of reality?
And crucially, what responsibility might that tool require from you?
Definitely something to think about.
It is.
Well, thanks for joining us for this deep dive. If you enjoyed exploring these magical toolkits and the ideas they represent, remember to like, share, and subscribe to the show for more deep dives into fascinating topics like this one.